Hello everyone and welcome back to Girls on Deck. I'm Kayla Birch and with me today is Hannah Jo Groves. We have a great show for you today. First, Hannah Jo and I will be talking about this past week's NFL off the field news. Then we'll move to MLB and have our guest Alex Funderburk tell us how he felt about the wild card games, the playoffs so far, and we'll give you our predictions for what these next couple days will bring. Girls on Deck starts now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Welcome back, everyone. Now let's jump into some of the news around the National Football League, starting with the Washington football team and how their practice was rated by the FBI. Now, the main person being looked at is Washington's head trainer, Ryan Vermillion. Vermillion spent 18 seasons working as the head trainer for the Carolina Panthers. 9 of those years were spent with Ron Rivera as the Panthers head coach. He joined Rivera again in Washington as director of sports medicine and head athletic trainer. But now the team's official statement says that Vermillion's been placed on administrative leave due to an ongoing criminal investigation that is unrelated to the team. The practice facility wasn't the only place that was raided. A nearby home was as well. And the residents of the area said they saw DEA agents involved. Hannah Jo, what was your reaction to hearing this news last week?
Kayla, it's weird to hear this kind of thing. I mean, as you just said, he's a super reputable guy, and we have to be careful what we say, of course, because it's an ongoing investigation, and we don't want to, accuse anyone before they have actually been accused. But it's just surprising to hear that such a reputable person who has been in the league for so long, who's well known and well respected, could be under such speculation. That was my first thought, was just surprise. And I'm wondering how Ron Rivera is feeling with, someone who he's worked with for, as you said, 9 years. It's really surprising.
Right. And I mean, everything I was reading, everyone just kind of no one knows what's happening. No one knows what to do. And, yesterday, the assistant trainer was also placed on administrative leave as this investigation continues. So a lot of questions are in the air. I mean, when we get more information on that, we can further discuss, but yeah, everyone's kind of just hands up in the air. No one really knows.
Yeah, I think they're kind of like us, Kayla. They want to be careful what they say before anything's actually been decided. But yeah, we'll definitely keep you updated on that. But Kayla, let's talk about a certain head coach that we here on Girls on Deck have been critical of all season. His name is Urban Meyer. With differing videos leaking this past week, Kayla and myself, along with the rest of the NFL and fans worldwide, are finding reasons to be critical of him that don't involve his performance on the football field. Basically, what went down was there was a video that surfaced of Urban Meyer at a bar, his bar in Ohio, just being, in my view, cringy. He's sort of dancing with a girl who, as Ross and I found out last week, contrary to what we originally thought, was not his wife. Now, Kayla, Coach Meyer has apologized to the team and to the owner of the Jags for being, as he called it, a distraction. I want to know from you, is that kind of apology enough? Is there more action to be taken with this 0-5 head coach?
Yeah, when I tell you I did not expect anything like this from Urban Meyer, never. I thought the video was fake. I thought it was a lookalike. It had to be someone else at a random bar that they were taking video of. So when I found out it was him, I was very shocked. And his apology to me, I mean, obviously he was ashamed. That's why not a lot of eye contact. He was kind of head down the whole time. But it was very subpar. I feel like I don't know. I feel like he has a lot of growth to do. Obviously, I don't think you can fire someone for personal cheating on the side. But I do think karma exists, and the fact that he's 0-5 for this season might have some correlation there.
No, for sure. Well, and I just thought he was so hypocritical because I remember, and he said this kind of in his apology, but he was invited, I guess, to Trevor Lawrence's bachelor party, which was in Vegas.
Yes.
And he said to Trevor and to the people around him, you guys got to be careful. You got to surround yourself with people who you trust because you never know what can happen. And then, he didn't ride back on the plane with the team after losing to the Bengals. And he did not surround himself, apparently, with good people, even though he was in the bar that he owned. Kayla, what did you think about him not even riding back on the plane with the team?
Yeah, that's what really got me. I'm like, come on, you chose to not ride back with the team. It was to see his grandchildren, apparently, but then you go ahead and do this. I'm like, it just looks so bad. You know, he owes an apology to his team, which he said he did, but I think he just has a lot of growth to do. He can't be doing that. He's a new NFL coach. He's new to the Jaguars. Like, you can't be doing this type of stuff. So it's immature all around. I don't think he understands. I don't know what was going on in his head, but I hope that he grows from it. His poor wife is who I honestly feel horrible for. Now, everywhere she looks, her husband's on the news with this other girl in the video.
Yeah.
So much of that she did leave Twitter saying that in the end, she goes, "We all make mistakes and we are all sinners. If you think you aren't, then cast the first stone." So obviously we don't know what'll happen there, but that is their private business at the end of the day, you know, as much as the news wants to know everything. I do hope that everyone respects their privacy during this time.
No, for sure. And it is private. She did, Urban mentioned that his family was upset with him, which of course is perfectly understandable. And like you said, Kayla, I mean, he already did not have a ton of credibility walking into the Jaguars head coach position. And then now with this, it's like, how are we supposed to, you know, be respectful of this guy? How is his team supposed to trust him? You know, like you said, I mean, I think it will have a direct correlation with how they're doing, because, you know, you have to respect your head coach. You have to look up to him, not just with his smarts on the field, but how he's living his life off the field. That's a huge part of the game. So I just want to know, I know you said you don't think that he should be fired based off of this. I don't know if I completely agree. I just feel like, you know, the owner of the Jags said that there's no excuse. But to me, we're showing that there is an excuse, because apparently he can just kind of stay with the team, no consequences, everything's fine. So, I mean, what message is being sent from the NFL with this situation?
It's a tricky situation because, yes, absolutely, he is in the wrong. He's horrible for what he did, but it's something that's so far removed. It's such a tricky situation. You know, he cheated on his wife, horrible, but I don't think it's not connected to the team. What is connected to the team, though, is the fact that he did not ride back with them and he went to go do that. That is connected. Also, the fact that they are 0-5 for this entire season, the fact that he's doing poorly. So why would you keep a guy? Okay, let's say he's a great coach or whatever. That gives you more of a reason to keep around.
Right.
He sucks, clearly.
Exactly.
So you have that on top of the fact that his character is really not that great right now. Then what's the point of keeping him? Get rid of him.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
That's where I can agree that, okay, now that's the move.
Yeah, that it's like if they already were kind of not having that conversation, it's like this would have been the thing to tip it over the edge. That's at least my thought. And to me, it's like, you know, and we've talked about this on HTF before, but it's just like, what message is the NFL sending out? I mean, Roger Goodell and all that stuff, and we don't really like him, but just like, you know, you're setting an example for how the league is running. Everyone's constantly watching you. You've got eyes on you all the time, and how they're handling things. And I would say that, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he did get fired with just his record, but like you said, with this too, absolutely not. He needs to be with his team on the plane after they lost to help them focus for their next game, which they lost. Right. So I'm just not very happy with him, not very impressed. But yeah, Kayla, any last thoughts about that?
No, again, honestly, if he was actually going to see his grandchildren, which he may have, whatever ended up happening, that would be a different, right? That'd be a different story. But clearly, that was not the case. But that's about all the time we have for this segment. Join us after the break for some MLB talk with Alex Funderburk.
We're gonna need to no way! Welcome to the HTF Hot Wings Challenge. One of you guys actually do hot sauce like regularly?
No.
No.
It's like the least black thing I do.
Oh, wow, okay.
I say Johnny goes first on this one.
I agree.
Now the Buccaneers are going to play the Washington football team today.
That can't happen.
It will happen.
I'm terrified.
No, I really hate it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. No. You're wrong. If it wasn't for Kanye jumping up on stage and doing that, I'm gonna let you finish, but no one will know Taylor Swift.
Nitro's a dump truck. And if you don't know what I'm talking about,
Why is Nitro thick?
I don't know how many squats I need to do to get up like something like that, but I will do it.
Oh! Oh my God!
Baseball, obvious reasons. Babe Ruth, if you want to go currently. I feel like that's just like a thing.
He jumped off the wall to catch the home run. We made it through all the way to the end. Thank you for joining us.
I'm never doing this again.
Welcome back to Girls on Deck. Now, before we get into the MLB talk, I want to introduce our guest for this episode. He is the host of our main show here at HTFN, and apparently nowadays he's the mayor of El Paso, Texas, but unfortunately for him, he's a Yankees fan. But before we get into all of that, Alex Funderburk, how are you doing today?
We're going to talk about the Yankees, and they give me clinical depression, so let's get into it.
All right, well, yeah, let's get into depth. So I want to talk about this first wild card game, Alex, and I want to talk about your Yankees. So they went up against the Boston Red Sox. Garrett Cole, who is a candidate for the Cy Young Award, started out pitching for the Yankees, and right off the bat in the first inning, the Red Sox were proving their dominance. In fact, there were 2 home runs within the first 3 innings. This made 0 runs for the Yankees by the top of the 4th, 3 runs for Boston, and Cole to wonder where it all went wrong. But the Sox weren't only dominant behind home plate. Eovaldi pitched 7 strikeouts by the 5th inning and 8 total in the game. The Yankees just could not seem to keep up with the Red Sox all night, and ultimately the Sox took the wild card game 6-2. Alex, from your perspective, what went wrong here for your team?
This team is built to fail. How Brian Cashman and the front office built this team at the start of the season, it was never going to be good. The wild card was the best they could do. And then to have the dude you pay $300+ million to pitch in these big games, when he comes out and sucks, you're doomed. I mean, shout out to Giancarlo Stanton. He's the only Yankee who gave any semblance of an effort. I mean, he's 5 feet away from 3 home runs. It was a very, very tough night.
Okay, Kayla, what were your thoughts on the performance of the Yankees this wild card game?
I think it was a clear game of the Red Sox wanted it more. That's what it looked like. Garrett Cole was out, by the 2nd inning, and Eovaldi went through 5 innings. So it was just a lack of playing on the Yankees' part. But I want to ask you, Alex, what do you think of Garrett Cole? I mean, I feel like they keep giving him chances. You know, everyone's like, no, he's the best. Give him another chance. But I feel like he hasn't performed to what they're paying him.
Yeah, let me add on to that question. How does his hamstring injury affect him?
His hamstring's not an excuse. You can't be giving up. I mean, look, I give Boston credit. They're a good baseball team, but, like, you're Garrett Cole. At worst, you're the 3rd best pitcher in baseball. Like, what are you doing? But no, I think he's still going to live up to his contract. I mean, this is year 2 of 10, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Like, he'll be fine. And in the playoffs last year, outside of his start against Tampa, he looked good. I don't know. Like, he picked a very bad time to have one of his worst starts of the season. But, I mean, all year long, he was consistent. He stayed pretty healthy outside of his hamstring issue. And I genuinely do not think the hamstring was bothering him in the playoff game.
Do you think he'll have more years or playoffs, though, by the end of his contract?
No. Look, the Yankees are going to get this fixed. They're going to make the moves necessary. And I think Garrett Cole will be pitching in the playoffs and be that #1 starter that everyone knows he's capable of.
I don't know. I as a Yankees fan, I know you're very hopeful, but I feel like Garrett Cole they're paying him way too much for what he's actually performing.
Ooh.
And I feel like there's other pitchers that are more deserving of such a contract that are performing better than him. Look at Eovaldi. He clearly was better in that game, and he could be better in general.
Yeah.
Kayla, if you think Nathan Eovaldi is going to be a better pitcher than Garrett Cole outside of that one game, I want to tell you something, you're tripping.
I'm talking as a non-baseball fan here. Eovaldi stepped on Garrett Cole.
No, I agree with you. Eovaldi way outperformed Garrett Cole, but that's one game. If we're talking one game, if this is a one-game playoff tomorrow, I'm taking Garrett Cole over Nathan Eovaldi 12 times out of 10. I mean, Nathan Eovaldi was a Yankee. I know that dude. He is way too inconsistent.
Right.
Garrett Cole, like I said, is at worst the 3rd best pitcher in baseball. Any team in any of the 30 teams would have paid him that exact contract. And I think the Yankees get hate for it because they're the big bad Yankees and they give everyone all the money in the world. But I think any of the 30 teams would have given Garrett Cole that contract.
Well, for the Yankees' sake, I hope that he performs. I'm just saying he's easily, yes, he is a top pitcher. I think he has a lot to prove for the contract he got. Yes, coming out of the Houston Astros, he was going to get a contract that size. But he was also coming out of the Astros after a season that might not have been a real one for them. So I think he had a lot to prove, and he's not doing it thus far, which is my concerns for him.
I mean, that's fair, but last time I checked, the Astros cheating was their hitters, not their pitchers.
I was just going to say that.
Garrett Cole dominated, and he wasn't the one cheating. That was Jose Altuve, Carlos Beltran, all those fools who should not be in baseball. But
Hey,
that's a
Altuve
topic for a different day.
didn't benefit that much from it, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Right.
So before we move on here, I want to know, so now that the Yankee season is over, sorry, Alex, what are some moves that you're hoping will happen in the offseason for the Yankees?
Like I said on my show, fire Aaron Boone. That's got to be the first one. And while we're at it, fire Brian Cashman. Cashman, I love you, dog. You assembled the teams of my childhood with Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada, Andy Pettitte. I love you. But your time's finished here.
Well, while we're there, why don't we just fire Garrett Cole too, since we're on the
There
train
we
of
go,
firing?
Kayla.
Look, you can't blame Garrett Cole for one start. Look, I get it. I was mad at Garrett Cole too, but it's Garrett Cole. He'll be fine. Brian Cashman, you're using Aaron Boone as your puppet, and it's not working. I mean, you assembled a lineup that was all right-handed hitters, and we have a short right field where you need lefty bats to hit the home runs. So I don't know what you're doing there, Cash. I mean, getting Gallo, Rizzo, cool, whatever, but you got to assemble this team better. I think it's time for you to go. It's definitely time for Aaron Boone to go. I mean, a lot of people give Aaron Boone slack and say, oh, he averaged 98 wins in his 4 seasons. Guess what? Gadiel in this Teletubby costume could have averaged 98 wins with the Yankees roster. I mean, it's terrible. I mean, you can't winning 98 games with this roster. You could do with your eyes closed and not trying. It's what you do in the playoffs. You are the New York Yankees. Greatness is expected, and we have not been to a World Series since 2009.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, go ahead, Kayla.
I was going to say I agree. Overall, I think the Yankees do have a lot of work to do, a lot of moves to be made, because they do have a solid team. They're not a bad team by any means. I just think building, finding what works, finding what doesn't. I agree Aaron Boone should be out, find something new. Clearly that's not working. They're a team that gets so close every single year but falls short right when they need to do good. So absolutely, I agree. I think the Yankees are in for a change. But let's talk about the Red Sox, because they've absolutely been dominating the playoffs. Now, Hannah, what did you think?
I mean, like I said, I was just in awe of Eovaldi. I mean, I just felt like he was pitching amazing, and there was no way that the Yankees could keep up with him. Besides that, I just didn't know much about the Red Sox because, like you guys know, I'm learning baseball this season. But I just was so surprised at their dominance. And I want to, I'll save that for later, talking about whether that's a surprise or not for you guys. But Alex, what did you think the Red Sox did right? Or you can tell us what they did wrong, too.
Look, I think it was more what the Yankees did wrong than the Red Sox did right. The Yankees were being way too aggressive. They were swinging first pitch at almost everything. I mean, Anthony Rizzo was leading off the game, and he's someone who's known for his plate discipline, and he comes out, swings first pitch, and grounds out.
Yep.
Like, that's not – the Yankees' approach all year has been make pitchers pitch, but then for some reason in a one-game playoff where you have to win, they change that up and start swinging first pitch.
Okay. Kayla, go ahead.
No, I would say absolutely, but let's go into the next game,
Yeah.
Dodgers versus Cardinals. Now, Hannah, I know you want to talk about this one.
I do. So what is bad news for one of my friends is good news for another, but only for the wild card game, Kayla, not for all of playoffs. Let's talk about your Dodgers wild card game performance against the Cardinals. The stakes were high for this game because of how well the Dodgers did during the season. Of course, not better than the Giants, but we'll get into that in a bit. Adam Wainwright had a great play to finish the first inning, which had me thinking the Cardinals were looking impressive at first. And everyone might have been thinking that for the first 4 innings. But then Justin Turner hit a home run to get the Dodgers on the board. But the score was stagnant at 1-1 until the bottom of the 9th when Chris Taylor hit a final walk-off home run to take the game 3-1. Kayla, when it got to the 9th and the score was still tied, what were you as a Dodgers fan thinking at that point?
I was nervous. We are the reigning champions, reigning World Series champions. To get out in a wild card game that we shouldn't have even been in would have been absolutely embarrassing. So I personally was very nervous, but Chris Taylor, God bless that man. I mean, him and Justin Turner, they are postseason gods. They did what they had to do. We won. We moved on. I'm proud of their performance. I do think it was the Cardinals show that they deserve to be in that spot too, which I think, the
Right.
Dodgers need to pay attention to that. These other teams that, you may not have thought they should be where they are or whatever, they're going to be playing their hardest, and the Dodgers
Right.
have to play the same way in order to get back to where they were before.
Yeah.
That ring is a Mickey Mouse ring though, Kayla. That COVID season don't count.
Oh.
You know what? We still have made it farther this season than your Yankees have in the both
Oh.
seasons.
Hey, but look,
there we go.
Kayla, your Dodgers, like my Yankees, are going to be watching the next round from the couch. So
Wow.
We'll have to see about that. The series
Go
isn't
Giants.
over. Again, you've been out for a while now. You're past news. Yankees are old.
for a
you gotta
while,
fire everybody
Kayla, it's been
clearly.
2 games.
So
For a while, it's been 2 games. What are you talking
It's a
about?
while to me. A week is long enough.
Oh.
Hey, fair. Look, I'm not saying my team is better. I'm just saying your ring is a Mickey Mouse ring. It came in a 60-game season.
Hey, I like Mickey Mouse.
Exactly. What's wrong with that?
Just means it's easy. Came in a 60-game season.
I don't know about easy. We've been on the cusp for a while, and we'll do it again this year.
And
So
you're
we'll just
gonna
have to
choke,
wait and
like
see
always.
for that.
Okay, well, Kayla, while your Dodgers had a great outcome for their wild card game, like Alex is saying, they haven't been as clean against the Giants. They have proven that it's possible to come out with a win. Kayla, as we move on, what do you want to see from your Dodgers as they continue in this series against the Giants?
I think consistency. I think, that's something that, again, like these other teams, the Giants won it. Yeah, you think probably easy, the Giants are in it. But they had the best record in the MLB for a reason. They're clearly doing something right, and I think they need to play like, hey, we're going up against a team that could be equally as good as us, and that could easily beat us. They're having an absolute stellar season this year. I do think, the Dodgers will wake up tonight. Hopefully Scherzer starts. Hopefully someone starts that can pull them together. We are, Max Muncy's out, which is a benefit to not a benefit to us, but he was, one of our best hitters. So I think we'll be okay. I have faith in this team. That's one thing about the Dodgers that I love, is that we don't rely on one or two players. We have a stacked team across the board. If one player gets injured, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it could possibly hurt us, but I'm not that nervous because I know that we have Justin Turner, we have Chris Taylor, we have Trey Turner, we have a team that will back us up.
Hey, Hannah, you want to talk about how Evaldi made the Yankees look like children? You want to know who made the Dodgers look like children?
Tell me.
Logan Webb. He made them look like my high school junior varsity team. I mean, he made the Dodgers look bad.
Were you on that varsity team?
No. Logan Webb, man. I mean, he made the Dodgers look terrible. He's a god at home for some reason. He can't pitch on the road, but playing in AT&T Park is like the greatest pitcher of all time.
I can't even argue with you there. He did. He made us look bad, and I think but that was our wake-up call clearly, because then we won in the next game and we'll win tonight. So it'll just continue going. It's not going to stop us.
Alex, what do the Dodgers need to do to win tonight?
The Dodgers need to hit. I mean, like they said, Max Scherzer is probably going to go Game 3, which is tonight, and if they don't give Max Scherzer run support, like Max Scherzer might give up 2 runs, but if you're scoring 1, that doesn't matter. You're going to lose. And the Giants, they have the pitching. The thing about the Giants is they're a team of a bunch of old dudes. Like they're a bunch of old dudes having the best season of their career.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense why the Giants are good. And I've been betting on the Giants to just fall off a cliff since the season started, and it just doesn't happen. So the Giants don't lose. I think the Giants are just going to keep on winning. They'll win this series, and I think they're going to get to the World Series.
Look, they're pretty consistent, and I will say I think that's why they're also playing so well at their age, is because they're eager. They found their momentum, and they're like, we're getting older. It's not going to get any easier from here on out, so let's absolutely make this our best season possible. I still have faith in the Dodgers. Justin postseason Turner is phenomenal. We saw it the other night. We'll continue to see it throughout this season. And that's how a lot of Dodgers players are that we've seen in the past. They kind of pick up in the postseason. I think our hitting power will be there. We clearly have the pitching power. We have a great bullpen. I just think it's the Dodgers to win. Could the Giants take it? Very well. But I just really think the Dodgers will show out in the end.
Any final thoughts, Alex?
Every time the Giants have a full 162-game season, they choke, or not the Giants, the Dodgers. Every time they're in a full 162-game season, they choke in the playoffs. They're going to do it again. It's the Dodgers are going to Dodger. I mean, they win in 60-game seasons. That's about it.
Well, both of you guys are loyal fans to your teams. Before we wrap up, though, I do want to talk about something that happened last night for us. Our viewers actually have an advantage on us because they get to see this on Tuesday, so they'll know what happens in these series games today for us. But I want to talk about the Red Sox and the Rays. I actually was in Tampa last night, and I got to watch part of this game, and the Rays were looking great, but then somehow in 15 innings, the Red Sox win. What happened, Kayla?
I think the Red Sox are just on fire right now. Kike Hernandez, I am so sad that he is not a Dodger anymore, but I am so proud. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. His batting average is insane. He has 2 home runs in this postseason and 5 RBIs, and it's only just begun. I think the Red Sox will continue to dominate. They have the team for it. I think they beat the Rays in this as much as, you know, I wouldn't mind the Rays going a little further, but I just think the Red Sox are proving that they just deserve it more.
Alex?
The Rays are a poverty franchise. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, this is
that
why
says it all.
this is why they're gonna split. They're gonna have split seasons between Tampa and Montreal because their fan base doesn't support them. They are a poverty franchise. They deserve to get beat by Boston. I hate Tampa. I hate Boston. If it were up to me, both of these teams would lose this series, but that can't happen. So go White Sox.
Okay. Well, do you? This is what I was gonna go back to earlier, but Kayla, you sound like you kind of expected this dominance from the Red Sox team. Alex, is this a surprise that they're doing so well, or are you totally expecting this?
I mean, the Red Sox race series all year long, because, I mean, they're in the same division, so they played each other 19, 20 times. It was a pretty good, like, evenly matched series all year long, and to expect them to just, like, get swept by Tampa, I think, is a bit premature, but I'm not going to sit here and say I expected Boston to be up 2-1.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I'm shocked either. Boston has a good team. I mean, they won 90-plus games. I mean, 4 teams in the AL East won 90 games. This division is stacked. I expect this to go the full 5, and it's weird because I kind of want Boston to win. And as a Yankee fan, that's kind of sacrilegious.
So sad.
But I just hate the Rays that much.
I think if anything from this postseason, it's proven to be a really exciting one, which is great for baseball. All the people that say it's boring, you can go watch a baseball game and tell me it's boring after that, because this postseason is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Well, and last question for you guys. Is there, I mean, from my view, the Red Sox are just hot, like Kayla said. What can the Rays do to stop their momentum?
Alex, I'll toss that one to you.
Pitch. I mean, Boston's pitching is kind of weak. So if they can hold Boston to like 1, 2, 3 runs a game, the Rays are going to score. I mean, Randy Arozarena turns into like Barry Bonds and Mike Trout combined every time he hits October. The Rays are going to hit. So if Tampa can keep Boston off the board, Tampa will win this and make it look easy.
We'll have to see what happens, but as all the time we have for today, thank you so much, Alex, for joining us. Thank you, Hannah, as always. And we'll be back next week with some more talk.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.